I don't think so. A lot of people glamorize having celebrities as investors or as business partners, being one of them. It's pretty normal.
What does it take to build a great team?
I feel by nature, I'm a giver. I believe that when you are a giver, you're looking at how can you be of service. If somebody has actually climbed the cliff, they shouldn't just start walking their way. I think they should look back and see who else needs help in climbing the cliff.
Which role spirituality and daily rituals play in your life as a high-performing young CEO?
We only hire A+ players. You can be an amazing AI developer, but if you are, we will not actually hire you. AI is coming fast. You have to look at what skill set can you take on that can be complementary to the company so you're indispensable. Spirituality and mindfulness is not only aspirational but essential. So it's a quick protocol, less than 10 minutes. If you use this, I can guarantee you your life is going to change.
What are the main traits of a leader in 2026?
Number one trait is going to be
Hi, welcome to the podcast about wellness, spirituality, and mindfulness. And today's guest, we have Muneeb Mushtaq. He's the CEO and founder of AI wellness tech company called AIRZAI, which is making world's most progressive diffusers. And it's backed by Drake. So tell us, Muneeb, how is it to be a business partner with Drake?
Oh, wow, we're diving like right into it. Okay. I don't think so. A lot of people glamorize having celebrities as investors or as business partners. In my opinion, it's not. So it's something cool to share, and it's something that actually got a lot of public news as well. And again, it makes for a good story. But as we're building the business, of course, a heavy weight like Drake, it just carries a lot of weight. At the same time, I feel that it really keeps it centered to actually build something that we're truly proud of. So as much as I would like to say it is, it's something that, people feel that it's a very cool thing to have. It's pretty normal, we have 34, 35 investors in the company, and Drake being one of them.
So I want to back up and tell the story how we met. We actually met at the yoga event by Yash here in Dubai. And we actually needed to go to the beach from the main place and to do the full circle and the ceremony and stargazing. So to come back to the place where we started, you actually have to climb this giant cliff that I was just looking and couldn't understand how can I make it. And out of 70 people, I think, at the event, you were the only one who actually turned back and saw me and asked if I need any help. Or anybody at this point need any help. So I think this is revealing your core personality that is very open and willing to help people and be very open-minded. Is that true?
Oh, I mean, 100%. First of all, shout out to Yash. Awesome. He's a brother. He's amazing at what he does, and he brings amazing people together. Yes, I feel by nature, I'm a giver. And I tell this to people. I believe that when you are a giver, you're looking at how can you be of service. And I'm not talking about just by myself, right? I think this is something that was instilled in me by my parents, in terms of just helping people, supporting people, looking around you and sort of seeing who needs support or help, right? Of course, it was just a cliff, and it was something that I saw that, wow, I struggled getting up this and I'm in a pretty good shape. I'm pretty sure there are people, of course, we just had done a proper yoga session, so everybody was super flexible. But I was sure that let me look around and see if somebody needed help. And I think that's just life. I feel like I have been helped so many times that now I feel it as if this is my responsibility and it's my aspect. And it's funny that you mentioned that. It's such a visual representation of life that, if somebody has actually climbed the cliff, they shouldn't just start walking their way. I think they should look back and see who else needs help in climbing the cliff. And that could be the cliff of life, or it could just be a cliff in front of Burj Al Arab, right?
I love that. That's a true leader personality. That means a lot.
Thank you. No, I didn't. I didn't realize. I was just trying to help a human, and I saw you were struggling to get up on that hill, and I was like, "Hey!" And I think I was worried. I might have jerked your hand. I hope I didn't. I think I even asked you at that time too. Like, I was like, because I really wanted you to jump up, and the sand was like kind of loose.
Yeah, yeah.
We made it happen. That was teamwork.
Yes.
Teamwork, right?
I love that. So, tell me about your team. What does it take to build a great team? Let's say in your company at AIRZAI, like what challenges do you face to build a strong, good team?
Team building is quite, I think people don't realize this, but part of building a great company, I think biggest challenge, and this comes from like anyone who is just having, I don't know, 4 to 5 people in the team, to Fortune 500 companies with like hundreds of thousands of employees. The reality is, it's the DNA that you built with the team. And I think the first 3 or 4 hires are the most important hires that define the ethos of how the team is going to look like, how the culture of the team is going to come. I believe every founder or any business owner, when they start, and I tell this when I advise startups, right? Like, I advise probably 15 startups at this stage now that I sit on the boards of. And it could be very early stage where it's just founder plus a couple of people to like, a team of 100. Or actually, we just took on a company that has 600 employees. So that is a medium sized, right? Enterprise doing over $100 million. The reality is, it's the DNA that is set by the owner, the business owner, or the founder. And they have to really be true to themselves. So for example, like you mentioned, by nature, I'm a giver, right? And so when I started my company, the last company I exited, we were over 100 people, right? And now this company that we're building, and now I'm actually the chairman of this company. So we're just brought on a CEO. The thing was that when I had the conversation with the CEO to take over the team, the idea was very simple. I told him that when they had the discussion that, hey, look, we have to just stick to our core values. So for us in our company, we have 3 core values, right? Number 1 is that we only hire A+ players, because A players hire A players. And we put a plus on it because plus just means that they are dedicated to really go that extra mile, to really be passionate about what we're doing. So they need to have that purpose, number 1. Number 2 is that they can't be scared to make mistakes. We encourage our team to make mistakes. So we tell them you have to make mistakes. So in our assessment, quarterly assessment, we check and see how many failures did our team have. It has to be at least 20% of the things that they did need to fail. If they're not failing, that means they're playing too safe. They're not growing. And we are an early stage company. And then number 3, which is very close to me and which I believe in, is you need to have a good heart. So yeah, you can be the best employee, you could be the best salesperson, you could be the best developer. We have a whole AI teams. Like, you can be an amazing AI developer, but if you are, mind my French, an a-hole, we would not actually hire you. We would not, like, simple, right? It's like we need to have people who have kind hearts. So,
but this kind of people are the best in not playing safe. So they take risks.
They take risks, but they have to have kindness. Like kindness is the key. So because we are a group of kind-hearted people, our team, because then we showcase that in the products we build, we showcase that in the language we use with our customers. So I think it reflects, it trickles down in all of those areas.
Wow, amazing. How do you see the future economy looks like in the next few years, for example? You just mentioned the hiring process, but don't you think that we're moving towards the direction where we're going to have more like partner relationship, more like freelance with the companies, not like hiring as we know, as the old school hiring process, but more like I partner with you and I just work for your company as a project. So everybody wants to be in this independent role. How do you see this in the next decade, for example?
I mean, flexible work has been around for a while now, right? I think flexibility is always great, especially for early stage companies. Having said that, I feel anytime I worked with a contractor on a critical job, because any company has either critical job or a complementary job, like, role. So for example, it complements this, right? So for example, my lead engineer needs to be a full-time person. But yeah, if they hired a specialized iOS developer or designer, that's fine. That could be a contract role. So I feel that flexibility is important, but every team needs to have a few people, and that could be their executives, that could be their core team members that are really dedicated to be leaders. I actually recently came across a challenge because I hired someone, or we actually bought someone on board who's amazing talent, but just on contract basis. He's an excellent talent, but the ownership is not there. So we had a one-to-one conversation, and I'm like, hey, what is the matter? And he's like, look, I'm taking 2 to 3 projects, so it's hard for me to give my mind share. Right. And I'm like, that is fair, because look, if you're doing multiple projects, it might be a little bit challenging for you to have a critical role in a company where daily progress depends on the person. In terms of structures, yes, you can, if somebody wants to work full time, but they want to have a contractor role to, I don't know, from the Texas perspective, or in order to have the flexibility to move around, that is different. But yeah, but to answer your question, maybe if you're looking from a perspective of if they need to come to the office or work remotely, I do think remote work is very alive. I know it started in COVID time, but it still is very relevant, and it still is ongoing. It's something that really exists. And I think our teams are remote, they work really well. And it's just a matter of like having the right DNA in place.
Yeah, I just see the trend that people are over institutions, people are over like structures. They want to be more independent. They want to feel like they're making input in the company that is aligned with their values. So this is where we're heading.
We are headed that way. You're absolutely right. But I'll tell you this, look, it comes down to, people don't realize, but AI is coming fast. That's one of the things that is just happening in the world. So it's not people are worried it's going to take a lot of jobs, but it's like, you have to look at what skill set can you take on that can be complementary to the company. So you're indispensable, right? So you're not just directly replaced by AI, but you're somebody who is excelling at adopting AI to really implement this in your workflows. So if it's in your workflow and you pitch that to the owner, to the founder, they would bite on that, because any founder that I know is looking for people who are specializing and understanding AI.
Let's talk about spirituality and wellness, since this
One of my
podcast
favorite
is
topics.
all
Let's do
about
it.
wellness. Which role spirituality and daily rituals play in your life as a high-performing young CEO?
I believe that spirituality and mindfulness is not only aspirational, but essential. What I mean by that is, any CEO, any founder that I've met, any successful person I've met, they've prioritized their mental wellness, their mindfulness over anything. We talk about putting in hours, putting in work. Yes, the hustle culture is there, and I used to be part of that till I really totally burned out. The reality is, when you come from a place of having the mindfulness in place where you prioritize your internal self, you're able to give better, you are able to show up better, you're able to think better, you're able to strategize better, you're able to perform better, you're able to contribute better, and you're able to drive results better. Everything is mindfulness related. In my opinion, when you're internally connected, when you really are focused on shifting your mindset from external conditions to internal, magic happens. And I have just felt that. I have been there, I've experienced that, and I cannot vouch enough for it.
So what took you to this place? You said you had a burnout, and then you realized that the mindfulness is the only way out, and you started doing your daily routine. What is your daily routine now? How does your day start?
My daily routine. Wow, that's a good question. I post about that a lot, and I get a lot of DMs and questions about that, especially on my Instagram, because you know what? I want to inspire people. And I feel my daily routine is just showing up in my mornings. I think my mornings are so, like, I do priming. Like, I really believe that, when you prime yourself in the morning, and there's a certain protocol that I follow, mostly related to connecting internally than externally. Of course, there is all these cool, like cold plunge and all these different things that people do. Those are great. In my opinion, those are good to really activate your physical body, right? Of course, right? So, but your psychological aspect is equally as important. The inspiration that I took for setting up my protocol was from Tony Robbins, amazing guy. Is one of the people that I really say that he understands and has been in this and doing this for over 50 years now. What you really need to do is need to understand what does your body need when it gets up, right? When we get up, right, we just came from death basically, right? We were asleep, the body was recovering, it was repairing, and we now get up, and now we have to go from a state where we were sort of our brain waves were mostly like, fluctuating between theta and delta, to now we need to bring it to alpha to beta to eventually gamma, right? So on our scale of like brainwaves, right? So how do you change that frequency? A lot of people don't realize that when you just pick up the phone and start consuming content or start scrolling, you're skipping a lot of the brainwaves in the middle, and that is really impacting your psychological state. Whereas if you sit down for the first 5 or 10 minutes, you get up, you brush your teeth, you hydrate yourself. Hydration is really important. So I try to drink 1.5 liters of water in the first hour and a half of the time I'm awake, because you really need to hydrate your body.
Do you use ionized water? Or?
I do hydrogen water. I think hydrogen water is good, but even just a good bottle of water is fine. Like, people don't realize how less of a water everybody drinks. And so if you can just catch up on that, you activate your blood flow, your body, your parasympathetic state, like all of that gets activated once you start drinking water. So that is something that is activating your body. Then what you're doing is that you're really, I can quickly go through it, or else I can talk about this for a very long time. But what you do is this, in this order, in this sequence. Number one is that you have to really move your body. So for first 3 minutes or so, it's a quick protocol, less than 10 minutes. If you use this, I can guarantee you your life is going to change. Number one, you move your body for 3 minutes. Right? You can do shadow boxing, you can do jumping jacks, you can do push-ups, you can dance around, whatever your thing is, get your body moving, right? Because when your movement or motion, right? It like movement creates motion, and motion creates emotion. And that emotion is generally upbeat, high level positivity. You cannot see a person who's doing jumping jacks, right? Or dancing around and crying. You cannot, it's just impossible, right? So your body feels better. That's number one. Number two is that you then sit down and then you do your breath work. The breath work is you really do box breathing. That's what I love doing. So 4 seconds you inhale, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds exhale.
It's the most popular in Silicon Valley also.
Yes, box breathing. Yeah. You do 2 to 3 minutes. It really regulates your nervous system. You really regulates you and puts you in a state where you're now really aligned with yourself. Then what you want to do is you want to think of 3 things that you're truly grateful for. Let your heart absorb that. Let yourself really feel that. Like, you have to really let that sink in, right? Like when you think about it, and a lot of people are just like, yeah, I'm grateful to be alive. Are you though? You're just depressed, right? Or you're just like, so you have to be mindful of what you're trying to achieve, and don't do it as it's not a item on the list. I used to do that. The reason I say that and I'm so passionate about bringing that up is because I used to do that. I was like, okay, there is a list. Okay, 3 things to be grateful for. Okay, health, wealth, family, whatever, done. No, you're like, you get specific, you visualize it, you feel it in your heart, and you just settle down a little bit and let it just sink in. And then you really feel the energy when you sort of let it sink in. And then last thing you want to do, which I love, is you have to come up with 3 actionable items that you're going to take that would help you set the tone of the day. Because a lot of times people do cold plunge, stretching, writing, journaling, meditation, breath work, and they invest 2-3 hours, and then they're like, what am I supposed to do now? They have no idea. So you do this 10 to 15 minute protocol, and right away you're going into that action-based mindset where you're like, okay, what are the 3 biggest actions I can take that can advance my goals, my dreams that I'm looking to achieve? But just 3, that's it. And normally it is those 3 things that can really push you hard. So your psychological state is in place, your physical state is in place, your breath is regulated, your nervous system is regulated, you're feeling gratitude, so you're in a really good mood, it will really put a smile on your face, and then you're coming up with 3 things that you need to do, and you're visualizing them being accomplished. So whatever goal you're looking to achieve, you really visualize it that you're achieving that, and boom, that is the protocol.
Wow, I love that. I learned so much because my daily routine, exactly what you say, I can take up to 4 hours meditating, listening to mantras, moving, but then I still can be unclear about my daily plans. So this is so productive. I love that.
And that's what I realized too, because there was a time where I was doing, and you could probably dig up some podcasts from the past because we're all human beings and we're just growing, right? I used to be reading for 30 minutes, which I still do. I find a different time in the day. Then I would be journaling. Then I would be stretching. Then I would hit the gym. And even though I would wake up at 5:30, 6 a.m., now it's 11 a.m. So I've already like invested 4 hours. And now I'm trying to catch up on the day. I have no clarity what I need to do. And I'm tired from all these activities, right? So you don't want to do that. You really want to take on the day, because I really tell people you have to take action to achieve your goals. So you have to bring that intention in and put your energy towards it, because you are primed now. That's why this word is so important. You want to be primed to take massive action that can change the course of your life and help you achieve the dreams that you're really thinking about.
Do you train your team on that? Do you talk to your people in the company about wellness and health and spirituality, how important it is?
Not only I tell my team about that, I actually train other teams for that as well. So we have a whole protocol that we sort of follow. And I have had friends who are CEOs of companies, like I mentioned, like, 500 people, 600 people, 100 people, 50 people, 10 people in the team. And they might be doing things because, of course, for them to get to that point, they have a certain discipline. Team members generally are cognizant of, like, not understanding the importance of these things. And majority of the people that I've seen is that, if they are married and with kids, and they have to send, especially younger kids, and they have to send them to school, for example, and then they wake up and they just start running around, fulfilling the needs of their children, which is, of course, very important. I always advise them to put an alarm that would be maybe 30 minutes before their kids wake up, or what their regular time is. Because those first 30 minutes, look, again, we are coming out of people need to understand the importance of our brain waves, right? So from theta to delta, which is our deep sleep state, which is delta, to theta, which is hallucination and sort of like, your eyes are closed, but you're in a subconscious state, to going into alpha state, which is around 10 to 15 hertz, right? That is the frequency that we're at. Alpha state is where you can meditate. You can really manifest as well. So this is the time, the first 10 minutes or so after you wake up is the prime time to put yourself in the state of gratitude, to really meditate and set the intention for the actions you're going to be taking for that day.
I love that. What is your nighttime routine? Is it the same as morning routine? You also dedicate like 15 minutes to do gratitude and meditation before going to sleep?
So I'm going to be honest about this. I'm a human being, and I feel I have a lot of work to do to fix my night schedule. I live in a city where nightlife really happens, right? And by nightlife, I'm not out partying, but I'm out meeting people, and people are out meeting late, we're getting things done. And also I have different time zones that I have to manage the teams. So as much as I would like to have the time to wind down, I barely ever get the chance. But one thing that I definitely do is stop using my phone 30 minutes or so before I go to bed. There is a video that I really watch to prime my mind. It's by Napoleon, which is like just back in like early 1900s, and he's just really it's on YouTube. If you just go right, it's a 45-minute, but of course you can just listen to snippets of it. It really primes you to be action oriented when you go to bed, because again, your day is not starting when you wake up. It gets started when you're going to bed. So I really, really recommend people that they have at least an hour of wind down time. But again, I try to be realistic. If you're, again, with kids, if you're living in cities like Dubai, Miami, New York, if it's London, these kind of metropolitan cities, you are going to be out late. Just that's the reality of life. So you don't want to fight the reality. You don't want to be unrealistic. But at the same time, you'd really want to make sure that you take out a pocket, a window where you can really spend time with yourself.
Tell me about your move to Dubai. You moved from Canada, and why did you choose Dubai out of all the places in the world? And can you tell me, does it resonate with you? Like, can you associate yourself with Dubai, saying that this is my perfect city?
Dubai has a special place in my heart. And so, there's this trend going on. So it's like, people are sharing photos of like 2016, like 10 years ago. Have you seen that? 2016 versus
Yeah, right.
2026. So my team was like, Muneeb, let's dig up 2016 photos. I'm like, no, that's so embarrassing. I used to look very different. I had a major glow up, post COVID. But let's just say, 2016, when I look at it, it was one of the first years when I started coming to Dubai. And I remember I come in, I was in my early 20s, and I fell in love with the city. The energy here is amazing. The people here are amazing. I have amazing Emirati friends. Now I work with government departments here, with Dubai, with Abu Dhabi. Like, they're so forward thinking. The people here are so forward thinking. I don't think there is a place in the world right now that can attract the kind of people. You would only see a certain type of people based in Dubai that have a very specific mindset. It can only attract and retain that mindset. I'm pretty sure, because you're pretty new here, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this? Like, have you felt that yourself?
Yeah, definitely. And you actually inspired me to dig deeper into this, because my lifestyle is very different. And a lot of my friends saying that, oh, you're so not Dubai, because I meditate a lot. I do breath work. I spend a lot of time in silence. And Dubai is all about this bustling energy. So I'm trying to get in the circles and meet people, but it's pretty interesting.
So funny you mentioned that, because I think anybody who's coming to Dubai, and I'm a big advocate for people to come to UAE in general, but also Dubai, is that it caters to all segments of people, right? So it could be mindfulness related. You'll find your community. If you're looking for partying, you would find your community. If you're into spirituality, if you're a religious person, you would find your community. If you're family oriented, there is literally communities that are made for just families. Like, it's so amazing to see the diversity that is in the city. So I highly, highly recommend to anybody who's considering to be situated here.
Yeah. So you said that you had a major glow up after 2020.
Yeah.
What caused that glow up?
Mindfulness. So I was burned out. I was completely burned out. 2020. I feel I haven't really publicly shared this a lot, but we had some big challenges. We were with our projects. We were just at the cusp of launching, and because of COVID, the factories shut down. There was a lot of challenges that we faced, and me being one of the founders. And at that time, being the CEO of the company, really had to make some tough calls, put the project on hold. We didn't want to let go of our team members, so we relocated them to other opportunities, while not making sure that we really don't let the project die. It was really a testing time for me, to be honest. And at the same time, I was stuck in Middle East. I was actually in Qatar, where my sister lives. By the way, Qatar is another amazing country to look at. Doha is just growing fast, and I'm a big advocate. And Qataris are some of the nicest people, amazing friends I have over there too.
What about Saudi?
Saudi, I was born in Saudi actually. So Saudi is growing fast. It's amazing. Again, a lot of Saudi friends too. And Saudi has a different energy. They are, when they put their mind to something, they really just get it done. And I love this attitude, the 2030 vision that the leadership has set over there, and the way the development is happening, it's unreal. So we're doing a lot of work, and we're starting to do a lot of work in Saudi. So
Do you think they're going to beat Dubai?
I don't think it's a competition. I think Dubai just attracts a different kind of audience, and Saudi has a very different audience set. A lot of times people try to compare Riyadh with Dubai, or Jeddah with Dubai, and Riyadh with Abu Dhabi. Like, I don't think those comparisons are fair, because by land, it's a completely different economy that is run by Saudi, and a completely different mindset that the leadership has in UAE. And I think they both hold very special place for a lot of opportunities for people looking to really get into the Middle East. And I really, really, I suggest people who are in Saudi to really look at expanding business into other GCC countries, Gulf countries, including Qatar and UAE. So I always say that this golden triangle, you have Saudi, Dubai, or Saudi, UAE, and Qatar. Um, Look at this. Even if you have a business in Europe, if you have a business in North America, if you're not proactively looking to partner up, and we help a lot of companies come in here and sort of launch in this region. If you're not looking, I bought my business here. Like, AIRZAI was a North American company, right? But we realized that, first of all, fragrance is something that is a need in North America because people are we want to get rid of bad smells, right? But in Middle East, it's a passion. It's a cultural thing. People appreciate it, right? So that's why we saw that opportunity, and you have to be resilient and you have to look at where the next wave is. In fact, somebody told me I was catching up with a friend, and what she told me was that one of the deciding factors of really planning to move somewhere is to see how many cranes that city has. And currently, if you look at it,
it's all over.
It's all over. If you look at Dubai, I was recently in Riyadh. If you look, it's cranes everywhere. That means development is happening. That means opportunity is coming. And that means that is a sign that there is going to be a lot of progress. There's going to be a lot of business opportunities, and the economy is expanding. Remember, anything that does not expand is shrinking. In life, nothing is plain, nothing is straight. So in your life, in your relationships, in your business, you have to ensure on daily basis. And that should be the motivation in itself. People ask for motivation. I tell them, look, if the motivation is, hey, you know what? If I don't keep this thing growing, it is going to shrink and die. Do you really want to die? Do you want this relationship to die? Do you want this business to die? Do you want this project that you're working on to die? Do you want these habits that you're working on to die? You don't. You want it to grow. You want it to excel. Right? So that's what it is. A straight line is when you're dead, right? You don't want the straight line. You want a growing trajectory.
I love that. So on your Instagram, you have almost 1 million followers, and it says that you're top business influencer. Who do you influence? What is your audience? And what is your main message?
Great question. A lot of people actually ask me that. What do I actually do? I tell people, look, I am a venture architect, meaning I love creating ventures. I love supporting ventures. I love advising ventures. And I believe my passion currently is wellness and AI. I feel these are the two categories. If you look at it from this, AI we already know is growing as nothing else in the history of the world. And then if you look at wellness, especially longevity, it's going to be an 8 trillion market by 2030. This is massive. So if you're looking at it from a perspective of where do I want to go? You look at the trends again, just like I mentioned, the cities, you want to look at the trends that are growing. And these are growing trends. And I'm not jumping on them now. I've been obsessed about wellness. I've been obsessed about longevity. I've been obsessed about AI since years ago when it wasn't as cool as it's today, right? And you have to pick up on the trends fast. Another thing that I do is that I really enjoy sharing my message to the world. One of the things that we haven't really promoted a lot, but you're going to see now in 2026, because we have just set up the team for this, is our Million Meals Initiative. So we set up this foundation called HSM Foundation. And under that, we're setting up Million Meals where we're we've actually done almost 30,000 meals, fresh meals delivered to people all across developing countries from Middle East to Southeast Asia. And we're going to be really going heavy at it. And that's another way for us to give back. So in any place, shape or form where I'm able to bring value, I am looking at how can I optimize that? And I think that's where somebody was joking with me. I don't want to say the name, but was recommending me that I should write a book.
You should. You have a lot of knowledge. I think you're ready for
this. And for the cameras, for the record, it was her. We talked about that. I was like, hey, I was just thinking about that. Yeah. So,
it was in one day.
It was in one day. I've actually thought of the title as well. But I do think book really makes you realize what you have to offer to the world. Right? I have read books I do 50 books a year, almost on average, 1 book a week. And I feel that the amount of knowledge that you can gain from it, and I really want to distill my knowledge. So far, I'm still very young, but if I can start documenting that and distill that knowledge, and if I can help even one person who reads that book to really have that breakthrough, you'd be good.
What are you reading right now?
Oh, these days. So I am reading. So there is an excellent book. It's a Stoic book by Ryan Holiday. And he's written a lot of good books. But I feel that he writes about ego, right? Like, you know how ego is your enemy, right? And so, or ego is the enemy. I think that is the name of the book. I feel these days, ego is so prevalent and we're so self-obsessed that we're not looking to invest into relationships. We're not willing to invest into things because we just think that we're just entitled to everything because it's so easily and readily available to us. And AI is just making it worse. Everything is on demand. We don't realize how blessed we are to be where we are at. And I believe that it all sort of contributes to our ego, where we take things for granted, we take people for granted, we take opportunities for granted, we take blessings for granted. And so if we can understand that, look, all of that I have is just for me, and I get to do this. I don't have to do this. I get to do this. This mentality can really, really shift the trajectory of your life.
Who inspires you? Do you have any person that you look up to when you have a hard time?
So my inspiration comes from, so I don't have one role model. I feel like you have to have a board. Again, coming and talking about a little bit on the nerdy way about setting up the board. I sort of assign certain people on my board. Like, of course, I might know them or they might know me, but it's not a matter of like if they know me or I don't know them. It's just their teachings, what they're teaching, right? For example, I would say, like, you know, if I really want to excel at marketing, I would assign Sir Richard Branson as my role model for marketing, because this guy has created Virgin brand and 100 companies and is a genius marketer, right? If I look at mindfulness, if I look at, like, you know, really performing well in life and sort of like, you know, excelling my energy, that would be Tony Robbins, right? If I look at really creating amazing ventures, I would look at Elon Musk, because he has built 6 companies and he is the richest guy in the world.
What are all these people have in common? And I'm trying to lead to my next question. That is, what are the main traits of a leader in 2026?
Number one trait is going to be mindfulness. I think it's about time now, especially with the advent of artificial intelligence. The emotional intelligence needs to take place. I think people are not understanding that we're so externally stimulated that we are really looking for quick dopamine hits. And I like to call it cheap dopamine. That could be scrolling on social media. That could be always looking for external validations to really feel fulfilled. And that could be possessions, again, that are our social media culture that promotes all of these things. Yeah, those are great. Look, I'm active on social media, like you said, but I believe on not consuming, but creating. You're an amazing creator yourself. And I believe that in 2026, people who are going to be creators, and it has to come from a place of your originality, your authenticity. And when you start creating internally your mindfulness, it creates the external reality that helps you achieve what you desire. And I feel that's where you have to invest the most amount of time and energy.
I love that. Tell me about AIRZAI. What inspired you to create such a cool product? And can you show us?
Sure. And you would see more of this. Actually, I want to say something. Have you heard of this festival called the Cayenne Festival?
Yeah, of course. I've been there last year.
You were there last year. Yeah. How was your experience at Cayenne?
Amazing. I met so many great people. Yeah.
Okay, great. So because we were talking about mindfulness, I really want to recommend one thing.
But it was windy.
It was windy. It's open air, that's for sure. Yeah. So you have to really layer up and you have to be prepared to be outdoors for longer periods of time. But one thing I like about that event that I really want to tell your audience about, if you really want to get centered and mindfulness, I would really heavily suggest that you look into this event, because there's so many of my entrepreneurs, young professionals who really use centering themselves by meditation, doing yoga, having the conversations around health and wellness that this event covers. So highly recommend it. It happens in Abu Dhabi and they should check it out. I like to sort of recommend people to a certain thing, an action that they can take. I don't know how diverse your audience is, but if they are based out of UAE, that's one event to check out.
No,
It's
it's
very cool.
amazing. And I love how they cover movement and mindfulness and psychological topics.
Yeah, and they have the whole longevity area as well, where I believe our team is going to be showcasing AIRZAI, which we're just going to talk about real quick.
Okay.
Again, it's just regulating your emotions. And that's what we do, by the way. So with AIRZAI, let me just quickly show it to you, is a
I feel
product.
like we need a whole separate podcast for AIRZAI.
This is going to be a separate podcast, yes. But let me show you this version. So this is a product that we created.
Wow,
Let me
so
get this.
stylish. I love that.
Thank you. So this is like an orange
Is
Hermes
it
leather.
always, it comes in orange?
No, it comes in different colors. You can just switch it. So you
love
literally just
that.
take this out and then you can just switch it up, right? It's all created by us, invented by us. And, and when I say us, it's actually, I have to give credit to this award-winning designer. His name is Fred Bowles, who created this because we wanted to be a very personalized device. What this does is that, you take one pod and you pop it in and it creates the scent that you desire, right? So like, you can say the mood, I want to meditate, I want to relax, I want to sleep, and it helps you achieve that. But more than this,
enhances your mood.
it enhances your mood and your environment. So I always say wellness should go hand in hand with luxury because wellness is premium. When you have a premium mindset, look, we live in Dubai and we appreciate finer things, right? A lot of people would call it materialistic, but it's just you appreciate finer things, which is fine, which completely, you own up to it. I own up to it. And I'm like, hey, it's premium ingredients, neuroscientifically proven to elicit certain emotions that you want. We have a patent that connects your, actually it's in progress, so I cannot talk about it too much. It's confidential. Maybe on your next podcast, I'm going to bring this up because we're in the process of finalizing this patent. But this is amongst many patents. Sorry, I just hit the mic. It's amongst many other patents because IP is really, really important, intellectual property, right? But think about it this way. I really want your audience to understand this. We are the pioneers of really introducing scenting as a service. First of all, what do I mean by that is your olfactory system is connected to your amygdala and hippocampus, which is responsible for driving emotions and memories. So what we say is that any scent that is coming out, it could be from this or other line of products that we have as well, is that any environment you're sitting at, I wish this studio had a scent, right?
Yeah,
we should have turned this on,
nice.
right? So we can create an atmosphere that would actually not only make this studio smell unforgettable because scenting is branding, right? But also it will impact the guest, the people having conversation here, right? So you and I, we both had a shot of
Maybe
caffeine.
I would have better questions.
All right. No, you're just going to be more happy, right? So we can do happiness, we can do energizing, we can do relaxation. So we can target very specific brain waves with our technology, our proprietary technology, which can help in achieving that. And by the way, I'll tell you this as well. Currently, the scents in the market, so candles are the worst, right? But scents in the market, they carry parabens, phthalates, which actually disrupt hormones, especially in women. These phthalates impact estrogen, which are directly impacting the hormones in women, but also testosterone, which is in men. Even more worse is that since you have a dog, it's bad for pets. It's horrible for kids.
So this is safe for...
This is safe for all of them. And all of our fragrances, all of our scents are actually approved by the top compliance regulatory authority in the world, which is called IFRA, which is International Fragrance Regulatory Association, that ensures that all of the levels are safe to consume. So it's safe for you and your family. Also, we always say that, any environment that you sit in, right? It could be a spa, it could be a gym, it could be your bedroom. It should smell and feel like the way you want it. And it should bring some functional benefits. This is what we're creating with AIRZAI.
Amazing. Besides AIRZAI and this amazing technology, what do you think are top trends, wellness trends in 2026?
Oh, in 2026, I think if you look at red light therapy is something that is really picking up right now. I just spoke at a longevity, actually I was at Forbes Summit, which is the wellness one. And then now this longevity conference. And one of the things that we're seeing is red light therapy, which is really, really important. But then there's a lot of frequency related tests that a lot of brands are doing in order to see not only your physiological state, but also your emotional state. So if you can have a control of over your emotional state, you are bound to feel better. When you feel better, your cortisol levels are low. When your cortisol levels are low, that's a stress hormone for people who don't know. That's a stress hormone. How do you keep that at low? You keep that by being mindful again. Like, a lot of people, when you have influx of dopamine that is hitting all the time, it really messes up with your cortisol levels. So to keep their cortisol level, you have to be mindful. It connects to exactly to what we talked about before, right? And when you minimize your cortisol levels, you feel better, your health is better, you live longer, your quality of life is better, you are nicer to people around you, you make better decisions, you get better sleep, your skin is better. What else? And you're just a better human being. So I feel that in 2026, products and services that can help minimize the impact of quick dopamine hits and like can actually regulate the dopamine receptors are going to be things that are going to really take off. Like, and of course, it's very popular in the longevity, because I know you're involved in longevity circles as well. In the biohacking community and longevity circles, this is already very mainstream, but I believe this is going to get even more this year. And then just secondly, I think peptides are another thing that I see as a growing trend in 2026 as well.
Yeah, amazing. And this is so important because all the systems are trying to, and also if you live in a big city, you're just constantly bombarded with information and the pollution and everything, internally and externally. So yeah, it's very important that you share this message and more people get to know about your lifestyle and what they need to do to be mindful and healthy.
Of course. Yeah, no, and I always, again, it ties back to what we're building with AIRZAI. Like if you look at this product, air quality and like, the surrounding, the environment that you have, that you're surrounded with plays a huge role. So people don't pay attention to the lighting that they're around. They don't pay attention to the invisible air that is around. And so that is what we're trying to do with AIRZAI, right? Like, when you smell things around you that are better, you feel better. So it's like, for example, I think I might have shared that video with you as well. But if you spend the whole day in a fish market, you would smell like a fish. But if you smell the whole day in a perfume market, you will smell good. So it's like the scent carries with you. And we want to make sure that people understand the value of how your environment really impacts you as a human being.
Amazing. And we will continue this next time. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.